Welcome in, ladies and gentlemen, to MBR, or as we like to call it around here, Nothing But Rants, the show where I find topics that I'm oddly passionate about and I pontificate upon them. These are not hot takes, but rather takes that I'm hot about. Everything matters. Absolutely everything. I know it's not exactly the most overwhelming analysis coming from yours truly, but I've observed this football team for over, 3 or 4 years now. And everything, it's the one thing I come away with. Everything that is involved truly matters, right? Who you recruit matters. How we practice matters. How we eat, sleep, and lift certainly matters. How we go about bonding with one another at the University of Georgia, that matters too. Everything matters, including what and how we say to the media. That certainly matters. It's very obvious to me that Georgia football players, more than most, go through very extensive training every single year before put in front of microphones. They also have to wait a year before they're put in front of microphones. It is very diligent. They are very, very diligent about what they do and how they do things with regards to the media. When you hear Georgia players talk, they avoid every single little thing that may become a headline that they're not supposed to say. If you're not supposed to say it or even tread upon it, they never seemingly do. They talk glowingly of the opponent. They talk in generics, never specifics, always generics. Very similar to their head football coach. They know how to play the game, very plain and simple, as easy as I can put it. They understand how the machine works, end of story. They get it, they understand. So when Mykel Williams, a true sophomore, is asked about the offensive line play at Georgia, listen to how politely the words are that he uses to choose. Watch what he avoids saying. Listen to this clip right here.
What does going up against this offensive line day-to-day do for you?
We got the best O-line in the country, so it's obviously the best work. I feel like we're not going to play nobody as good as our O-line. I ain't going to say that. Sorry. But I feel like we're not going to play our O-line is the best in the country.
Did you hear him? Did you hear him stop himself? Nah, we're not going to play anybody better. No, I'm not going to say that. No, I'm not going to say it. He said it, but he didn't know. He didn't actually say it, right? He stopped himself. He had the wherewithal to stop himself in his first ever media appearance in that room in front of those cameras being asked those questions, right? He obviously could have cleaned that up. He obviously tried to clean that up multiple times. It wasn't perfect, right? There was a little bit to that. You gave it a little bit of the clip, right? But you know me, I had to follow it up. He clearly stopped himself. He clearly had an inner voice that said, don't you dare say that. Don't you dare give anyone that headline clip. Don't you dare put that on the front mantle. Even though Georgia has the best offensive line in the country, we're not going to play anybody better than the offensive line we have. Not an outlandish statement. Not a crazy statement. Not saying we're going to murder ball everybody to death. Not saying we're physically better than everybody else. It's a very blanket statement. It's a very plain statement. Okay? But when followed up, hey, how are you guys avoiding all this? What are y'all going through? How do y'all know not to say these things at 19, 20 years old? Jay Will, we find out. We find out why they're so good at this. Play the clip.
I'm curious. You guys never seem to say the wrong thing in here. You always say the right thing. What is media training like at the University of Georgia?
It's intense. We bring in one of the best people ever. I get, in my opinion, one of the best people ever to come help us, Miss Maria Taylor. And she sits us down and walks us through how to answer questions and how to enunciate and how to, go on an interview. Yes, sir.
First of all, you hear him talk about it's very intense, right? Every single year when we have media training, it's very, very intense. But he also talks about Maria Taylor, right? The best in the business, he says, at doing this. Coming in, teaching young men how to enunciate words, what topics to avoid, how to conduct yourself professionally in those types of settings. It's handled, it's addressed, it's talked about, it's trained, it's practiced before it's ever having to been executed. That's kind of the entire game plan and the entire motto of the entire building. I got to sit there wondering today, how does someone like Kirby avoid his message becoming stale? It's been 3.5 years now, 4 years of them kind of being at the top of the sport or competing for the top of the sport. Every 3 or 4 years, your roster turns over, sure, Maybe it turns over at a higher rate than maybe some other businesses that people are trying to reach the top of. But how does this guy, that's particularly really, really tough on everybody, that has a very, very consistent message, right, about avoiding complacency and living up to the standard and playing it the way that we do, all the stuff that he continues to repeat over these years. How do you avoid your message becoming stale? Well, it's things like this. It's bringing in Maria Taylor to handle things like how to conduct yourself in front of the media instead of doing it yourself. It's things like bringing in Maria Taylor. It's things like bringing in mental health specialists and allowing them to conduct meetings and interviews and sit-down conversations with players that he's done over the last couple of years. It's doing things like bringing in guys like C.L. Shepard to come speak to their football team. It's doing things like going out and hanging out with former Navy SEAL specialists and going and playing paintball and allowing those guys to speak their wisdom and leave a footprint on football players and young, impressionable men. It's not always about having to be the one in front of the room speaking. It's about being willing to allow others to talk, right? It's about being willing to allow your players to speak. We heard this week about Kirby Smart giving Carson Beck the opportunity to tell his teammates about what it meant to wait, about not being ready for the opportunity when it was presented to him in 2021, and what it meant to him to have to wait his opportunity and really truly learn what it means to prepare like the starter. It's being willing to allow others to speak. Right? It's everything. It's all encompassing. When I sit down and try to figure out why Georgia's great, why people like Oklahoma State's coach come into the building, or Houston's head coach Dana Holgorsen come into the building and say, that program's light years ahead of everybody else. They're doing stuff way ahead of everybody else. Well, what is it? Where are all these little ingredients? How do you find? It's everything. It's all of it. It's absolutely everything, all the way down to how we conduct ourselves in front of the meeting room, right? It's all those things. You want to know the secret sauce? It's everything. Welcome into tonight's show. We got a loaded one for you today. Bear Alexander's people had some things to say to the media out there in LA. We're going to talk about that tonight. You guys took your pound of flesh on social media today. We'll be bringing that up. We won't be talking about it long, but I got some thoughts on that. I had dreams last night. I don't know if other people dream in football, but I do. I dream in football. A prime example of this, I was driving to West Virginia for a buddy of mine, Rudy. Shout out to Rudy. Buddy of mine, Rudy's bachelor party, guys. And I was exhausted. I couldn't drive anymore, and I had to lean on my boy Jake. I said, Jake, I need you to drive. I need you to handle the rest of this drive. I'm exhausted, can't go another mile. And he said, all right, don't worry. So he hops behind the wheel, and I start to, go to sleep. And apparently, I woke up in the middle of my slumber and just looked at him and said, who's the mic? And he said, what? I said, who's the mic ID? Who's the mic? And he's like, I don't know what you're talking about, dude. I said, God damn it, don't even worry about it. And went back to sleep. So apparently I dream in mic identifications.
Always grinding.
Always grinding.
Even in the sleep, always grinding.
Even in the slumber. So last night, amidst my slumber, I had a dream about 21 personnel and Brock Bowers. We're going to bring that to you tonight because your boy be dreaming in X's and O's. Some of y'all be counting sheep. I be counting dubs. So yeah, we're going to talk a little bit about that. I don't even know where that came from, but dreaming in football is dope. Y'all should try it sometimes. We're going to talk about which room has been impacted most by the running back room kind of being banged up on, the DL, if you will, or on the down low, on the IR was what I was talking about there. And of course, tonight we're going to reveal where our Friday Night's Mic'd episode is going to be this week. Man, we're going to give you some love later on that, but y'all have shown up and shown out on that Friday Night Mike episode that we recently did. So I appreciate you guys for doing that. We also want to appreciate and show some love to the folks over at PrizePicks, prizepicks.com, promo code Brooks. Today, you can get a 100% deposit match, and we do have NFL football starting in about 5 minutes. My boy Jay Will, you got the lock of the day, okay? Pressure's all on you. Just want everybody to know, around these parts right here, we want to know on our last one. So we hot, all right? So don't make us cold. What you got?
On your last one.
Hey, don't worry about it.
Every loss before that doesn't count.
All that matters is the recent success and the next rep when it comes to this here gambling. What you got?
All right, I got 4 of them for you. I got Joseph Ngata, 28.5 receiving yards. I got the over on that for Philadelphia. Atlanta running back. Atlanta said they're not playing their starters tonight, so Godwin Igwebuike over 40.5 rushing yards. Darnell Washington, we got some more dog action. They got him at 11.5 receiving yards. I got the over on that as well.
Ooh.
Trey Sermon, Philadelphia running back. I got him over 28.5 rushing yards. I like all of those.
All right, so Nigerian, dog, Bama player.
Yep.
I'm in it. We in there like swimwear.
Wait,
Put it on
Trey
the board.
Sermon was
Trey
Oklahoma.
Sermon was Oklahoma and Ohio State.
You know what?
Sprayberry's
Technicalities. You say Sprayberry's finest?
Yeah, dude, he gave us the work my freshman year.
You got Trey Sermon stories, huh?
I mean, I was a freshman.
Oh, you were
I had
riding
a torn labrum.
Not a 4-year starter, eh, Curb?
Torn labrum.
That was
dude.
just 5'8" Christian Kirby.
Yeah, let's not bring up pre-show
oh my
beef.
God.
Guys,
You
I
know,
accidentally told Kirby I thought he was 5'8", and it didn't go well. Apparently he's 5'11".
Yeah.
Look at you.
Full form.
Bro, 3 inches is a lot, all right?
I'm just going to let that sit. Yeah, run over to Prospects, promo code Brooks today. You get a 100% deposit match. You put down 50, they put 50 in there, up to $100, okay? So that's free $100 waiting over there on Prospects for you guys today. Again, promo code Brooks. I'm going to be quick on this next one. It's fitting that we just got done talking about media training and what to say and what not to say and what to avoid, topics of discussion to avoid, things to not say when you're in front of a media when you're in front of the media. And Bear Alexander's people, or mentor, I should say, not people, his mentor sat down and conducted an interview with the LA Times this week, an interview in which he said the following about Bear Alexander's departure at the University of Georgia. And again, we're going to be really quick here, all right? Quote, Jones, who is Bear Alexander's mentor, Jones had a very specific expectation of where Alexander's trajectory should take him as a sophomore at Georgia. He was assured by Georgia's staff of the major role Alexander would play this season. But when he wasn't the clear-cut starter at defensive tackle in the spring, Jones felt betrayed, saying, quote, if I can't trust you with what you say, I'm out. That's what it got to at Georgia. Look, I don't care if you're a mentor. I don't care if you're a football coach. I don't care if you're mom, dad, aunt, uncle, or brother with regards to another football player. But listen to the words, okay? Listen to the diction that this person chose to use with regards to another person's talent. Quote, if I can't trust you, and quote, I'm out. I don't like when other people that are involved with particularly young men take possessive tones over another person's talents. It would be no different than me walking around and taking possessive ownerships of my son's talents. Those are his talents. They are not mine. They are not for me to, and it's not even about propositioning for gain. It's nothing to do with that. It's about the word choice. That's all I'm here to not complain about, but to speak about today. This is what I'm passionate about. Going out here using possessive tones, possessive diction, possessive words with regards to none of your talents, somebody else's. You can be proudful of those talents. You can shout from the mountaintops about how great your child is. But the moment you start to take ownership of that, you are wrong. Period. Point blank. End of story. We can move on from it. That's all I have on the subject. Don't have any much else. Make sure you're hitting like, subscribe, rate, review, all that good stuff. We are up on podcasts nowadays. I used to get asked about podcasting all the time. Hey, how's the podcast going? How's the podcast going? Well, in reality, we don't even have a podcast. This ain't a podcast. This is a bunch of dudes talking ball on video over here on YouTube. So make sure you're subscribing over here. But if you miss up on the show, or if you miss any portion of the show and you want to catch up on it and you can't watch it live, or if you're driving around and you want to be able to listen to it, head over to however you find your podcast and just search the Film God Network. We'll pop right up. And while you're over there, make sure you're giving us a 5-star rating. Make sure you're leaving a review, all that good stuff. Guys, the running back room is really, really banged up right now at the University of Georgia. You guys have seen over the years how many, I think it was like 18 career carries for Brock Bowers at this point. You've seen his ability to run the football. My question to the room and to the chat, is Brock Bowers the best running back at the University of Georgia, and if so, by how much?
I'll go with yes. But I also
This is assumptions of everybody being healthy. Like even Kendall and even Dejan. Like if I gave Brock Bowers 20 touches and I gave Dejan 20 touches, what's finna happen?
I don't know. I think a fully healthy Kendall Milton is a really, really good running back. So I think that's tough to put him over that. I also think Dejon Edwards is a really good running back. I think also part of what has led to Brock Bowers' success in the run game is also the creativity that they've kind of led with under Monken. So I think that plays a role, but he's definitely one of the better runners.
What are those stats on Kendall? I know you probably got them off the top of your head at this point. With regards to his yards per carry when healthy.
I'll pull it up right now.
I think they're north of 6. I don't want to spoil the entire
tweeted it
stat,
today.
but what do you got on the subject of is Brock Bowers? Or no, you got the stat?
I got it right here.
Come on.
In 2022, Kendall Milton became just the 4th Georgia running back since the year 2000 to average at least 6.9 yards per carry on 85-plus attempts. The other 3, Nick Chubb, Sony Michel, Todd Gurley.
85 is not a small sample size.
No.
85 totes is a lot of totes. It's almost a season's worth of carries. That's a really large sample size to be averaging 7 yards a tote.
Yeah, I think healthy Kendall Milton is the best back in that room. The thing that Jay will mention about Brock Bowers is a lot of his success in the run game has come from creativity. Not to take anything away from his ability to run the ball, but a lot of that success is creativity. I mean, who the hell is running tight end jet sweep? Like you don't see that on the scouting report. You don't know how to prepare for that. You don't have the personnel to do that in scout. So I think that's a lot of what you see. I don't know if Brock Bowers traditionally lining up in the backfield and taking handoffs is going to be as successful as people think it would be, but I think there's definitely ways you can get him the rock and run the ball.
This is a funny show moment. You guys know we're about to get up and walk to the board. You guys know this.
That's right.
I just realized as I was thinking about getting up to walk to the board, I didn't put my shoes on.
At least you put your pants on.
Dogs for free?
Hey, y'all finna get these
Oh
for
no,
free.
you're barefoot?
No, I'm not bare hoof, but I am out here. I am out here in the socks.
Oh, we're good then.
But you
Yeah,
know,
I got
it is
you.
what it is.
Watch
So
this.
I told you, I dream in football quite often. All right, who's the mic? I dream in football quite often. I did this to my wife one time too. I asked her if she's like practicing her play fakes or something like that. Absolutely wild. It's like,
Having
are we working
football-
our stretch meshes? She's like, what? I'm like, stretch mesh! Because apparently Sleeping Brooks is screamy Coach Brooks. Yeah.
That's kind of terrifying to wake up to.
Not great. But yeah, no, so I dream in football. Last night I had the vision of Todd Monken, TCU, 21 personnel. And then I had the dream of Brock Bowers running the football. And then I had the dream of the amalgamation of both. So that's what we're fitting to show you. Let's get after it. All right, so for those who don't know, this is why these are
Yeah, put them on.
here. We're gonna protect the dogs.
Stinks in here.
Chill out, bro. Chill out. We're probably going to get all kinds of chat messages about all the sound now. So, for those of you who don't know, Brock Bowers was an absolute monster in high school football out in Napa Valley, Cali. Out there in wine country, he was kind of elite, all right, really, really elite. But he basically did everything for this football team, including run the football quite a bit. So he was a running back in high school to an extent. Okay, they figured, hey, damn all these magical ways we're trying to throw him the football. Let's just put him in the backfield and let's just let him run the football. Let's just hand it off to him because he's really, really great in short area quickness ability. He's got a great jump cut. And obviously he's the fastest player on this California football field. So he's going to be gassing. All right. And even when we got him as an H-back and we get him, in there with a nice shovel pass, he's really great with the ball in his hands after the catch or after the run or after the handoff, right? Which is, by the way, how you play the running back position. Are we great with the ball in our hands after, the play is developing, right? Which is this right here. This is just him jump cutting, getting to the outside, showing a little stiff, keeping the ball in the outside arm, keeping it free, and just hitting the gas. Right, so I'm sitting here watching this, and my mind's just going like all kinds of different places. But the main place that it was going, and can you give me Epic? I got it right here. The main place it was going was to the national title game last year, because Georgia got into a very similar set with very similar set to what I'm trying to explain to you. I think they're going to play a lot of this year. Okay, Brock is, they got a tight end right here. That's Darnell Washington. So Brock's actually not on the field right now, but that's not the point. This is Dejon Edwards. He is a running back, obviously. And that is Kenny McIntosh out there at running back, all right, as well. So they are in what we call 21 personnel. Remember our personnel discussion from the other day? 2 running backs, 1 tight end on the field now. So imagine this year when Georgia wants to hop into 21 personnel because the running back room's a little banged up. What if, just for shiggles, this isn't number 6? What if this is number 19? Okay? And what if a couple of games we start to hand him the rock? All right? We start to show it to him, just not a bunch, maybe once or twice. Just give it to him a little bit. Well, guess what? This is the play, and I'm not going to show it to you. I'm just going to tell you, and you got to trust me. Okay, this is the play. They motion Dejon Edwards over. They pull both safeties over here. There's one safety in the middle field and one corner. The safety has this middle of the field. This corner has deep thirds. Now, that's all great. They got everybody covered. Once this guy moves over here, they got 2 guys for the 2 guys over here. But what Georgia does is they run Adonai Mitchell on a deep over, they run Ladd McConkey on a deep vert, and they run Kenny McIntosh off an out and up off of a wheel setting that you guys have seen at the University of Georgia for years now. And what it does is it puts this corner in a predicament. Do I run, because this guy's got the middle of the field, remember, do I run with the vertical that Ladd McConkey's pressing into my void, or do I jump on this running back that's now coming out of the backfield and running into my void as well? What he ultimately ends up doing is he jumps on the running back. Now, let me ask you something. If you're this corner, how much harder does this decision now get made when this is number 19 back here, who is arguably the best position player in all of college football? All right? They're going to show you 3 or 4 clips of him running the ball, and then they're going to run him right at your face. How are you not going to be staring at him while they're darting behind you and throwing touchdowns? That's what I was dreaming about last night, boys. And that's how I get giddy just thinking about that shit right there, because it's going to eat. I'm telling you right now. It's going to absolutely eat. Boys and girls got the feet for free out here today. What do y'all think? 21 personnel.
I would love to see them implement the shovel pass a little bit. You know, Patrick Mahomes and them run that quite a bit out in Kansas City. I think that would be a unique way to get Bowers in the run game. But that concept right there, I mean, I don't know what you do as a defense. That's scary.
I don't even know how you would call. Obviously, it is 21 personnel, two tight ends, 1 back. Do you count Brock Bowers as a back in that scenario?
If it got to that point, if Georgia got to the point where they were really trying to hide and really manipulate and really have fun with the gadgets that you could use Brock Bowers with, I would take my biggest, fastest, most athletic human being and I would shadow the whole game. I'd say wherever he goes, stand over him. If he blocks in the run game, attach with him, go chest to chest, just hold him still. If he breaks out for a route, you got to cover him, and we're going to try to slide you some help whenever we can. But they do such a good job. And even last year, Monken did such a great job of, this time he's a sniffer. He's hiding behind the tackle. This time he's end of line. This time he's out over there at what looks like an X receiver. This time he's in the slot. They made it so hard to track where 19 was even last year. This year, I think they might make it even more difficult because there's more eyes on him, right? There's more eyes on him because in the run game, as a defense last year, our count was based off 0. Where's 0 first? Right? We got to find him. That we're going to set the strength to that. If he's not on the field, okay, let's get out of dime, or let's get out of base personnel. Let's get into nickel, that kind of stuff. We're worried about all this stuff as a defense. This year, it's going to be, hey, where's 19? And then after that, everything else solves itself.
So you think Brock's going to be a lot of eye candy this year? Obviously, he's going to have a major role in the offense, but you think just using him as eye candy as well?
Yeah, you can use him, first of all, as a primary target. Like, we're going to manufacture touches to him however we can. We're going to make sure 19 gets 7, 8, 9, 10 targets or touches every single game. But abso-friggin-lutely, after we make them worrisome about 19 for a little bit, we are going to run him into voids and make him take multiple people and then basically design an offense off of that because he is going to draw so much attraction this year.
In other words, Ladd McConkey, Dominic Lovett finna eat.
Yeah, Ladd McConkey, Dom Lovett, Robert Thomas, basically Mekhi Muse, basically anybody that they can hide in or sprinkle in after the fact of Brock Bowers taking attention with him. It's going to be a loaded season this year for Brock and the attention that's brought to him, not just from a coverage standpoint, but a coverage standpoint, not just on the field, but off the field, right? He's going to have to do more interviews this year than he ever wanted to. He's going to have to do more pregame interviews than he ever wanted to do, more postgame interviews than he ever wanted to. And I think that's probably part of the reason it's part of the reason why Kirby made him go to SEC Media Day.
Oh, yeah.
Homeboy's skin was crawling. He was not comfortable at all.
No, he wasn't. Yeah, that's exactly what I thought when I saw Brock Bowers up there in Nashville. I was like, Kirby's doing this because he knows what's in his future. Not even at the college level. I mean, as soon as you get to the NFL, dude, like that's who you are going to be. People want to talk to you.
And it was, Brock didn't sign with they kind of put all the teams or the whole football team under an umbrella with one NIL agency. And Brock actually didn't sign with them. He kind of just let his, I would assume, agent, I don't know who he's got. He's probably got an NIL representative right now. He let that group and that team kind of handle all the things that he's doing. And Brock is like a nationally advertised dude. How they're doing it, I don't know. It's like no videos, it's all photos, and he's just like with the product.
I saw him on a commercial on TV once.
What was he doing, running?
No, he's literally just talking. I don't remember what the ad was. I feel like it was like, I don't even remember what it was, but he was on TV one time.
Sounds memorable.
It was like it was national television.
I just, doesn't want to do any of that stuff.
Nah, he gives off major I cannot stand being here vibes.
Yeah, normally a football player of his caliber we'd get all the time in media availability. They don't make him do it that often because he doesn't want to be there, and that's fine. I wouldn't want to be there either if I was 100% an introvert. He's not even I can fake it extrovert. You know what I mean? Like it's completely inwards and introverted. All right, the running back room's been relatively banged up. It seems, by all accounts, they believe or they're hopeful that they will be somewhat healthy come week 1, which is 10 days from now. Are we under 10 days? We're 9 days now?
9 days, I think.
We are 9 days away.
Single digits.
I'm dubious of such a fact. Okay, I don't necessarily believe. And even if Kendall Milton and Dejon Edwards are available, I don't think they'll be highly featured in that first football game against UT Martin. I think you're going to see a bunch of young guys. But the topic of du jour tonight is which player, which room, which person, which area of this football team has been most impacted by the current running back room situation. So let's set the table for what the situation is. Dejon Edwards, sprained right knee. Kendall Milton, tight hammies. Branson Robinson out for the year, ruptured patella. Okay, your starting running back right now, Cash Jones. Your secondary running back or your second string running back or 1B, Andrew Paul, 1C, being Roger Robinson. That is where you are currently at right now. I open the floor to you guys. Save the quarterback room last for me. Just going to go ahead and tell you. Which room, which person, what's been most affected by this running back room right now?
I think if you go person, Cash Jones has certainly been affected. This guy is now going to get significant snaps. Like you said, he's the number one guy on the depth chart right now. So his usage rate and his production this year is going to get an uptick because of those injuries. So he's certainly been someone that's impacted. And then I think you could also just throw the wide receiver room there in general because they're going to get more shots.
The Cash Jones one, they got a bunch of these guys. It's like Mekhi Muse is going to get playing time this year. Cash Jones is going to get playing time this year. In years past, Dan Jackson got playing time. It's not just Stetson Bennett. They hit on walk-ons all the time. Mm-hmm. I mean, every year it seems like we sit here and we're like, oh, that walk-on's going to impact the roster this year. Well, I mean, just steals left and right. And Cash is a guy that comes from the state of Texas. He's not like the standard walk-on. The standard walk-on in UGA is like a kid like Mekhi Muse or like a kid like Logan Johnson, right? In-state kid. Offers are like Troy, Memphis, UTC. Nah, I'm going to go walk on at Georgia. I'm going to go walk on at Georgia. I'm going to go have fun. Cash Jones is a kid from Texas. Like, that doesn't normally happen. Normally that kid goes to whatever. Goes walk on somewhere in Texas. Doesn't come to walk on at the University of Georgia. Goes play. Like, D2 ball in Texas is really fucking good. Like, really good. 1AA ball in Texas is really good. Mm-hmm. Nah, I want to be a Georgia Bulldog. So, yeah, he's definitely been impacted by the running back room injuries currently.
Yeah, I said the wide receiver room is the most impacted by this because think about how many times in 3rd and 3, 3rd and 4, 3rd and short, you could say, all right, we've got Zamir White, we've got James Cook, we've got Kenny McIntosh to go to. I mean, back in 2016 and 17, even if it was 3rd and 5, that was an automatic wild dog to Nick Chubb or Sonny Michel. Yeah. So now you're going to have to rely on guys, I think, a lot more to get those passes and extend the change. Maybe, all right, we need Ra Thomas to hit this slant. We need Dominic Lovett to get open in the flat because we don't necessarily have a running back room that we're super comfortable with putting out on 3rd and 3. Now, you have an insane O-line that's going to help with that a lot, but I think the wide receivers get more opportunities on those 3rd and shorts than they have in a long time at Georgia.
Shout out to Matty Collins and shout out to the Savannah area. Is that 912?
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Is it 912?
Yeah, Brunswick
Shouts out
and-
to the 912. Was down there, going to be down there this year, I think. I think we're going to come see Elijah Griffin. Shouts out. Appreciate the love there in the chat. Appreciate all you guys in the chat tonight, showing mad love, showing up. I know there's some other streams going on right now. You know what? You're here. You chose to be here, and we chose to be out here producing that fine-ass content. Hey, last show, best show, Thursday night, last 2 hours of the week. I was asking the boys, do they feel like it's unnormal or unusual for them to wake up on a day and not have show? Jonathan's gotten to that point. Kirby has not yet, which is not a problem. But that checks out. You guys are very diametrically opposed. Somebody asked me the other day, were those two guys friends before they started working together? Hell no. They didn't know each other until about what? The day you walked up on me in class was the first day y'all met?
I didn't even meet him then.
No,
You didn't
we
even
met
meet him
each
that
other
day?
at the G-Day event. That was the first time we met each other.
Hell yeah. Just a true love story going on here at the Film Guy Network between all the Brodies. So yeah, it's been a good, first 3 weeks here on this little mission. I know it's been different. I know some people, and that's one thing Pate spoke about yesterday on the show, is how his show's going through all these evolutions and it sounds the same and it feels the same. No, that's not going to happen here. Every time we change, it's going to feel a little different. We're going to try something new every once in a while. I like to be that way. I like to continue to grow. There's no one way to do this. There's no one right way to do this. The only way to do this is to continue to do it and to continue to grow. And that's the way I felt like doing it, was just bring the homies in. Because I got tired, really, really tired of being by myself, doing all these hours by myself. I feel like y'all getting plenty of opinions like this one right here. I think Carson Beck is the obvious answer with regards to who has been impacted the most by this running back room right now, okay? It should be obvious that this team will get blitzed on 3rd downs this year. Off rip. I'm going to tell you right now, no matter what was happening at the running back position this year, Georgia's going to face more blitz on 3rd and medium, 3rd and long than they've received in years past by a wide margin. The reason being, there's going to be a lot more teams that believe on my side of the athleticism debate and discussion with Carson Beck than they do the Aaron Murray and the Kirby Smart side. I know every time Aaron Murray and Kirby get asked about Carson Beck's athleticism, they want to start talking about how this dude's kind of like the rest of the guys. He's, a little bit more athletic than people give him. I think he's a 4.75 athlete. That's good. That's above average. I know he was a world star baseball player. I know he's an AAU basketball player. I know how good of an athlete Carson Beck is. I also know he is not a better athlete than some of these edge rushers that are presented in the SEC. Is that a hot take? No, it's not a hot take. You know who was? Stetson Bennett. So you know who couldn't get blitzed like a mofo last couple of years? Stetson Bennett. Because all you do is spin out, outrun a defensive end, spin out, outrun a linebacker. Guess who's not spinning out of pockets this year? 15. All right, so he's going to get blitzed, and the amount of times he's going to get blitzed has just been rapidly increased by the fact that they kind of got a revolving door at the running back position right now, period, point blank. If Kendall Milton and Dejon Edwards aren't on the field this year, guess who has no experience from a pass protection standpoint at the running back position? Georgia. Okay, so they're going to see blitz. They're also going to see really, really light boxes on early, obvious passing downs. Okay, 1st and 10, 2nd and 10, 3rd and 10. You're going to see light boxes, meaning they're going to be daring you to run because they don't know if you have a game changer at the running back position. So passing downs, boxes, really light. Pass coverage, really heavy. Running downs, obvious passing downs with short yardage, 3rd and medium, right? Obvious blitz situations, you're going to get the house. All right, so those two things have now not necessarily happened to you because of what's going on in your running back room, but it's a byproduct of that, right? I was watching Hard Knocks today, and through all of the Aaron Rodgers self-sucking that's going on Hard Knocks right now, there's actually some football knowledge to be learned. And Nathaniel Hackett, the offensive coordinator, said this today, and I thought it was a great quote. Even though we have a Hall of Fame quarterback, the best friend of a Hall of Fame quarterback is a run game. Nothing makes a quarterback feel more comfortable than a solid run game. Georgia doesn't have, right now it doesn't look like they have a guaranteed answer at the running back position, but maybe they still have a solid run game anyways because the offensive line's that great. But it's not always guaranteed to be like that. You know what I mean? We don't need you don't need the running back room to be great. You need them to be average this year, and I think they're going to be at least that. We put out an article or a video last night or this morning about, hey, don't worry, calm down, it's okay, because it is going to be okay. I think it's going to be all right. Any other more thoughts about the running back room discussion? Anything in regards to that?
No, I think it is a good point of how Carson Beck's going to automate. I mean, he was going to get blitzed on third down anyway, just because of his mobility, like you said, not being on Stetson Bennett's level. But the fact that obvious passing downs like second and medium is going to be even more susceptible to a blitz, just because you don't have that run game to maybe get you to a third and short is going to be even bigger. So I think, yeah, he's going to see a lot more blitzes this year.
I think, too, though, something that you can add about the pass protection from the running back position, Georgia has always had a pretty big emphasis. Like, if you want to get on the field as a running back, you got to know pass protections and you got to know how to block. So at least there is that kind of mindset and that motivation for them in practicing that emphasis, but it really doesn't get real until you're in an actual game and bullets are flying. I
want to talk about this, and we don't have to be as quick as we were with the Bear Alexander stuff, but can we stop asking Kirby Smart questions about being 7-5? The dude never in his life would ever say something like that. And by the way, if you're asking questions like that today, if you're asking questions about that 7-5 quote today or yesterday or the day before or anything before SEC Media Week, you just didn't pay attention during SEC Media Week. He's talked about this. He's talked about how it was nothing. It was a lie. Like, it was made up. Don't know where it came from. But that dude would never speak about that. He talked about at SEC Media Week how he is a confidence football coach. He likes to build his football players up. In fact, last season, he wasn't talking about going 7-5. He was telling a football team that lost 15 NFL draft picks that they're good enough. You don't realize how great you could be. That was the message last year. What about no damn 7-5? The dude does not use outside motivation. He does not allow it. Now, he does on game day. You won't believe what those MFers at Fox said, had me ready to play, on day. Like, y'all have heard the pregame speeches. He mixes it in a little bit. But it's not the machine, and the motivation does not get driven by outside narratives or outside thought processes on how good that football team could be. Because guess what's not going to get you up for the third day or the third week of Bloody Tuesdays? What some damn analyst said about Michigan's offensive line. They don't care. That's not going to get you through the suck, brother. What's going to get you through the suck is the day-to-day grind, enjoying it, right? Learning how to love the process of doing things and getting better. Learning how to love the process of becoming great has nothing to do with outside motivation or outside, noise. It's goofy. We took 4 minutes of Kirby Smart's press conference yesterday talking about some mythical quote that didn't exist.
Yeah, and like you said, if you've watched SEC Media Days, you would have also gotten a feel of how Kirby Smart feels about those types of comments and his reluctance to answer those questions really as well. So, yeah, time to put that one to bed. Just leave it behind, leave it in history, and focus this year.
For whatever reason, I don't remember what player it was that said, Nolan Smith said, you had us going 7-5. For whatever reason, the media ran with that and took it as Kirby Smart is using this USSR level propaganda to make the players believe that no one thought they were going to win the title. Everyone had him at 6-6, and that just never happened. And for whatever reason, the national media ran with that and was like, what do you have to say about that now? They're questioning him. Kirby Smart, one, isn't thinking about 2022 and what he said to his players then. And he's damn sure not telling them he went 7. I mean, his quote was, if I was saying that, someone needs to check me into the mental ward. So it's like, what are you doing?
Now, he might say some crazy shit like that on a microphone, like during practice. I mean, he's all over the place during practice. It's everybody getting the smoke during that. So maybe there was some joking. Y'all play like this, y'all gonna be fucking 7-5.
Oh yeah.
Like, I could see something like that, but out here acting like he led the meeting room or stood up in front of everybody and was like, they don't believe in you. It's just not happening. Not at the University of Georgia. So
that's kind of what I would say is Dabo Sweeney type motivation.
Yeah.
Well, no one believes in us. We're up against everyone.
You know who else they didn't believe in? Gideon.
Ivan Drago, Rocky. He loves that.
I was going Old Testament joke. You were going Rocky joke.
Well, that's the one he's actually used.
Oh, the Ivan Drago.
Yeah, he's like, this feels like we're Rocky and they're Ivan Drago. What the hell, dude?
David and Goliath was sitting right there for him, and he just couldn't.
Prime opportunity missed.
He's probably used David.
Hit your layups, Dabo. Come on, man.
Print the shirts, hit your layups.
Hit your layups.
Is that one of the ones? Is that, we think that's going to be one of the ones that stick
I
around
could get
here?
behind that.
I like
Shut
that
up,
one.
grind the tape. Look at this joker.
Don't forget your shoes.
Don't forget your shoes. Yeah, I like it. I like it. All right. What else I like? I like that you guys have been absolute dogs with regards to the support on our Friday Night Mike situation. That was a piece of content that we kind of flirted with. We did the 7-on-7 with Cam Newton. Y'all y'all weren't like loving that. Y'all liked it. The people that watched that were like, that's great stuff. Do more of it. Well, I kind of knew the Friday night football games were going to be something that you guys would enjoy. I didn't know you were going to love it like 35,000 views in 48 hours type of love. That's what y'all did on that episode. I was pretty much willing to do it the rest of the season because I enjoyed doing it. And I go to these high school football games anyways. I'm here to tell you we're going to do it the rest of the year. We're going to be going to the greatest football games in the area that we can find. And I'm here to announce where we're going this week. So not that it's got some massive appeal. Not that everyone's going to be up in arms or like mad that we didn't go to their football game. But maybe some of the people appreciate the announcement that we're about to make here anyways. Saturday, I will be in 103-degree weather at Grady Memorial Stadium in Atlanta to watch the Douglas County Tigers take on Mays High School. We're going to get a look at our guy, Quintavious Johnson Jr., the defensive end commit from Mays, and about, I'd say, a dozen Power 5 football players from Douglas County High School. Jay Will, you got to see Douglas County take on Westlake this year, so you understand what I'm talking about when I say there's about a dozen guys that are going to play Power 5 football in that DC team.
Yeah, I remember us walking down the sidelines pregame, and you're just like listing them off like, that's a D1 football player. He's going Power 5. He's got an offer from Georgia. And like every single one of them just littered with D1 offers.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy how I was having a conversation with my dad today. He said somebody in his business called him and said, hey, my son or so-and-so's son goes to such and such school. And I said, get him to a new one. Get him over here. Get him to this school. Get him out of there because it's just the odds of him being great there or him being seen there, minuscule. Where you go to schools like Douglas County, and you were there. We were at a spring game. How many college football coaches were on that sideline that day? 50?
At least
50?
It was. They were everywhere.
All right. So if you're a father or if you're a parent, I'm all for growing where you're planted. I am. I'm all for waiting your turn. I'm 100% that. But if you think your son or your daughter or your child or whatever, if you think someone in your family has the ability to play college football and no one around them has ever done that, or no one at the school that they're at has ever done that, or it's impossible or it seems impossible at the school you're at, maybe find a new one. All right, maybe find a new one because it's not impossible. All right, we go to some of these schools sometimes and you're like, damn, that kid's got an offer? It happens at other schools. It won't happen where you're planted. All right, so it's okay to get out of there. But nonetheless, we're going to be at Douglas County High School, or Grady Memorial Stadium, taking a look at taking a look at Douglas County versus Mays High School, and it's going to be a good one. All right, I'm really, really excited to see Jordan Carter, one of my favorite football players to watch, plays like an absolute demon on the defensive side of the football. You thought I was kidding until I told you, watch him. Just watch 22. Just watch how hard he plays football. And he played against an NFL dude that night in Juan Gaston from Westlake, and he kind of got him a couple times.
Yeah, he's got a motor to him. He's really fun to watch.
He absolutely is fun to watch. We hope we've been fun to watch for you guys tonight. Make sure you're hitting that thumbs up button, like, subscribe, rate, review, all that good stuff. If you missed any portion of tonight's podcast, tonight's video, you can check us out wherever, however you find your podcast. Just search the Film Guy Network.